Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading Cibola Burn. So Cibola Burn is the fourth book in the Expanse series, which is a science fiction series, and it is set in the future where a lot of planets in our solar system are inhabited by humans. And the end of the third book opened up a lot of possibilities, a lot of doors, a lot of craziness. So I was very excited to get into this book. And if you want to see my thoughts about the previous books, I will link the videos in the description and also a playlist up there. And I just want to say that there are definitely spoilers in this reading vlog, and let's just get into it. Okay, so I got to page 198 of the book, which is 1/3 in, and at the end of the last book, the wormhole that they found was opened and opened a lot of gateways to different planetary systems. And in the beginning of this book, we see that people are exploring those other systems, and there is one planet specifically that was called initially Islus, has been colonized by some people, and they call it New Terra. And in the prologue, we are actually following Bobby, who was a character from book 2, and she sees in the news that there has been some sort of tragedy in New Terra. And then we start following people who are there. And the first person we follow is Basia, and he is one of those settlers that is in New Terra. And we learn that his son has died in, I also want to say book 2. I could be wrong, but I think it was in book 2. And he moved the rest of his family there. They are living there, but they just decided to go and they, settled there. But there is now a ship full of scientists and security people who are going on an exploratory mission to that planet. And as those people are getting there, the people that live on the planet already, they don't want the exploratory team there. And so they blow up the shuttle, one of the shuttles that the scientists team is sending down. And then we start following one of the people that was in that shuttle, because a lot of people died, a lot of people got injured, but she's one of the people who was okay. And she is called LV. And she's one of the scientists that are there. And then another person we follow is Havelock, and he is one of the security people that is in the main ship that brought the scientists. And I knew that his name was familiar, but I couldn't place it, so I googled it, and apparently he was Miller's partner in book 1 when they both were cops. And so that's where I knew him from, but now he's working security for that ship. And then finally we get to Holden's POV, and we learn that he has been called to go to New Terra on a diplomatic mission to, be the mediator between the settlers and the exploratory team. It's actually Avasarala's idea, and I thought it was really funny because she said that everyone hates him equally, so he's impartial. And I thought it was really funny because it's kind of true. Even though he's a good person, he's just trying to always do the right thing, everyone kind of hates him. So I thought that was really funny. But anyway, he is hired to do that, to be the mediator. And as they are getting there, he can still see the vision of Miller, that it is something to do with the protomolecule. We actually learn that he's able to see Miller because the protomolecule infected something in their spaceship, and that is why he can see Miller. But anyway, Miller knows that that system where New Terra is, someone used to live there, probably the people who created the protomolecule, and he wants to know why they disappeared, what happened to the people that created everything in that system. And before Holden even makes it to New Terra, some of the people from the exploratory team, they find the hidden explosives. And then the settlers, like they see that they have found their explosives, so they kill them and like hide the bodies. So like no one knows for sure. I mean, they know, but like they have no proof that the settlers killed those other people, but like everyone knows that they did. And then Holden gets there and he's like, they have a meeting to try to make some kind of deal between all of them. And literally, like in the first meeting they have, someone gets shot in the head. So, it's not going great. And then later, like they do later make some kind of deal, like between the settlers and the exploratory team. But like no one is happy with that. And even before it actually went wrong, like it was obviously that was gonna go wrong. But Holden is out with the like scientists with Elvie, and they find some sort of creature that Holden recognizes from when he was in the like wormhole station. And they're not sure if it's like a machine or an animal or like a mix of a machine and an animal, but they know that it is dangerous and they should not be there. So Holden wants like everyone to leave, but no one else really wants to leave. And when Basia is like telling Holden that the rest of the settlers are planning on killing the whole exploratory team and Holden's team as well, because they don't want to like leave the planet that they have decided to live in. So they just want to kill everybody. And Basia is not okay with that. He doesn't agree with the rest of the settlers, so he goes to warn Holden. And Holden is like, well, that doesn't matter because we're all leaving. And Basia's like, we're not leaving. Like, we have killed and we have died for this planet. No one is leaving. And he literally says, like when he's after that, he's talking to his team, Holden, he says, they'd rather stay here and kill each other right up until the alien shit starts turning them into spare parts. And that is literally what's happening. But pretty much the last thing that happened is that there is another like attack between the settlers and the exploratory team, and there are deaths on both sides. And then the exploratory team, like they want to take Basia as like a prisoner, even though like he was the one who warned Holden that there would be an attack, but like he's the one that they have there, so they want to take him as a prisoner. But Holden's like, if you take him, I'm sure you're gonna kill him, so like I'll take him myself to make sure like he's safe. So Basia is gonna be like with Holden's team, and that is pretty much where we're at. And yeah, I am really enjoying it. I'm also really stressed, and I am enjoying all four POVs, even though Havelock is definitely the one I'm the least interested in. And Holden is obviously the one I love the most because I just love him and his like relationship with his crew. They're, found family. I really, really love them. And Basia and Elvie are both like new characters, but I'm already like invested in both of their stories. And in terms of the conflict, like I definitely understand both sides, which kind of sucks. And I also like and dislike people on both sides. But in the end, I think that's not even gonna matter because the protomolecule thing is gonna ruin all their lives anyway. And I am definitely excited to see that happening. But anyway, I am really enjoying it so far. I definitely started to enjoy it more once we saw that like the protomolecule thing is there and is, like I said, probably gonna ruin their lives. And yeah, I am definitely invested, I am excited, and I am probably going to read another third and get back to you. I got to page 391, and the first thing that happened after my last update was that the crew of Holden's ship, they figured out that the crew from like the RCE, is that what it's called? It doesn't say on the back, so let's assume it's what it's called. The like scientists and security people and all that. They had weaponized one of their shuttles, so they decide to send one of their own. So Naomi goes to kind of try to like sabotage the weaponized shuttle, but while she's doing that, Havelock and his people, they see that there is someone sabotaging their shuttle, so they catch Naomi and now they have her as a prisoner. And then on the planet, Elvie figures that some things are like waking up, and they are waking up from like things related to the protomolecule and whoever lived on that planet before. They are like waking up from hibernation, but they are waking up wrong. And one of the things that's waking up wrong is that sort of like animal machine thing that they don't know what is, that we talked about in my first update. And another thing that is waking up wrong is a moon. Like one of the moons that the planet is melting. And so she assumes that those are the things that are like waking up wrong from hibernation, because, you know, in nature, like Earth nature, there are some like from animals species that hibernate. Some of them, like a small percentage, they wake up wrong. And then she's wondering, like, what about the ones that are gonna wake up right? Because the vast majority should be waking up right. And she's wondering like when they're gonna show up. And then the like Holden's crew, I mean, there's only like one person now on the ship, and it's Alex. So Alex and Basia, who's now on the ship as well, they like from orbit, they see like a massive explosion on the planet, but like on this side where there's no one, like everyone is on one side of the planet, and then on the other side there's like a massive explosion, like it destroyed everything. And now the shockwave of the explosion is like moving to the rest of the planet, obviously. And so they have just a few hours to either evacuate or find shelter. And so they try their best to find shelter because they know they're not going to be able to evacuate in that little time. And they decide to find shelter in like the ruins that already existed when they got to the planet. And they all work together, like Holden and the RCE and the settlers, they all work together for the first time. And most of the people do manage to find shelter and survive. And when they come out, like everything has been destroyed. There are like no like new ruins of the things that they had built. Like it's just flattened. There's nothing. And then Holden, like he's even more sure now that they need to get the hell out of the planet. And he thinks that he's convinced the RCE security chief to save like some of the settlers, like to take them on his ship, because they don't all fit on the ship that they come in, because they'd had like the things that they mined are like now taking place in the ship. He thinks he convinced the guy, but actually the guy just accepts because he always wanted the settlers out of the planet. So that's just, you know, doing like what he wanted in the first place. And then the people in orbit, they try to send like supplies down, but the supplies get like shot at by the planet, like the planet's defense mechanisms, that they have no idea like how they work, but they shoot down the shuttle that had the supplies. And so now they're trying to figure out a way to not be perceived as a threat, so like a way in which they could send the supplies down somehow. And at the same time, they are all like, all the ships are struggling because all of them have like one reactor that stopped working, which means they are gonna fall. Basically, they are gonna fall down to the planet. And like the only one that can keep like in orbit for a very long time is like Holden's ship, because it used to be a warship. And so like it has other mechanisms to keep itself like flying, but the others are gonna eventually like come crashing down in a few days. So that's is also terrible news. And even more bad news, there are like now some slugs that are like coming out of the soil, and they secrete like neurotoxins, so they're killing people. And the other bad thing that they discover is that everyone is gonna go blind in 4 days, because there are some like organisms that are like thriving in salty environments, and so they are getting into like the eyes of people, like tear ducts, because they're salty. And so yeah, people are starting to go blind, and some of them are already blind. A lot of them are like in the process of getting blind. Most of them are like already not being able to see enough to like protect themselves from the killer slugs. And then they find out that there is one person who's immune to the like blinding organisms, and that person is Holden. So they are like studying his blood to try to create some sort of vaccine or some sort of treatment. And that is where I'm at. And I am really, really loving it. And just like I was expecting, I am definitely even more interested now that they are being attacked by like the alien things. And I'm loving to see how all these alien things work. And I really want to know how they're like created and to learn more of exactly how they work, because we have seen some of them in action, but we don't really know how or like why or really anything. And like in terms of the characters, I just hate the RC security chief guy so much. Like if there's one person that I want to like suffer a very painful death, that's that guy. I want him to die so bad because I hate him so much. And I'm definitely worried about Holden's crew because Naomi is in the RC ship, so she's not exactly safe, even though Havelock is very decent, like especially compared to like the security chief, he's, you know, decent. Then Amos is getting blind and being attacked by killer slugs, and Alex is in a ship that has a reactor down. So even though like he says that his ship will be fine, like he said that the ship wouldn't like stop working before they died of old age. So I'm assuming in that regard he's safe, but also is anyone ever safe? Probably not. So yeah, I am definitely worried about them, and they're really the only people I care about because I do like Elvie, but I don't think I like her enough to actually be upset if she dies, you know what I mean? But anyway, I am really, really loving this book. I am very invested, but also very stressed. So I am gonna finish it and I'll tell you what happened and what I thought about it. Okay, so I have finished the book, and in this last third, Elvie realizes that Holden is immune to that organism that is making everyone else blind because of his cancer meds. Because basically, the cancer meds they attack like fast dividing tissue, and that organism is like a fast dividing tissue because it replicates very fast. So they use like Holden's cancer meds to start curing everyone, and it does work. And at the same time, the people on orbit, so Alex and Basia, they decide to go get Naomi because she is like the best engineer ever. And they think that, I mean, Alex thinks that if there is someone who might be able to like fix the problem with the reactors in all of the spaceships, it's Naomi. So they decide to go get her. And Havelock realizes that they are being boarded. And at the same time, I think it's the captain of their ship, I'm not entirely sure. He gets in contact with the like security chief that is on the planet. And so the security chief tells everyone that they need to like kill the people who are boarding them. But Naomi tells Havelock that that is like a terrible idea because like she might be able to help. Like if they hurt her friends, like she will never help them. Like she will let all of them die. So Havelock actually helps Naomi get out. They all make it to Holden's ship. They all, I mean like Havelock and Naomi and Basia and Alex was still in the ship. And they try to fix the ship of the settlers because that is the one that is gonna like fall the fastest, and Basia's daughter is there and Havelock is helping him, but at the same time the like security people from the RC ship are going after them. And at the same time in the planet, Holden is like following Miller's instruction because Miller tells him that Miller tells him that he might know a way, like a place where he can disable the planet's like security system. And so he follows Miller's idea and he goes. But then like the security chief guy follows him. And then Amos and LV and another guy follow him to like try to stop the security guy from hurting Holden. And the security guy actually, like, he shoots Amos and the other guy who was with them. And for a second, I thought Amos was gonna die, and I was really pissed. And I mean, I already hate that security guy so much. Like, I already wanted him to die, but in that moment, I was so pissed. But Amos does not die. But he, like, the other guy goes after Holden, and Holden actually shoots him. He doesn't kill him because he says that he wants him to go to like a trial and to, be arrested for all like the horrible things he has done on that planet. And then Elvie gets there, and she and Miller tried, because Miller is now like his consciousness is like inside of a creature, kind of a robot, but not exactly. But that thing and Elvie, they go try to like turn off the security system, and they do manage to do it. So like the reactors in the ship start working, and they're no longer like in danger from the planet, but Miller dies like shutting the thing down. And so basically they are all safe now, and some people decide to stay there on the planet and like study it, and they just decide to stay there, but most people are coming back to our solar system. And then we get an epilogue with Avasarala and Bobby, and Avasarala is saying that basically now that there are like all those doors open to new planets, and planets that are like good for human life, people are gonna be living, especially they are gonna be living specifically Mars, because people in Mars, they have to like wear suits and be like inside of domes and things to be able to breathe and survive and all of that. And why would they do that if they could just be on a planet like living freely as if they were on Earth? And so she's telling Bobby that that is going to happen. People are going to abandon Mars, and the terraforming projects are going to shut down, and then like the whole economy of Mars is going to collapse. And the thing that is going to happen is like Mars is going to try to sell their resources, and the resources they have is weapons, and specifically like nuclear weapons and a lot of warships. And the people who buy them might be people who just want war and conflict and just like bad people. So that is gonna be a terrible thing. And like Avasarala is kind of recruiting Bobby to try to prevent like a huge interplanetary war. And that is how the book ends. And let's go into my final thoughts. So starting off with the characters and starting off with Holden, I still absolutely love him. And I love that he is always trying to, do the right thing and trying to save everyone. And I mean, somehow he always manages to do that. And I love his whole crew, and I love their dynamic, their relationships, their friendships. They are adorable and also really funny. And every time they were in danger, and I mean, they were all in danger at some point, I was really, really worried. And then Elvie, I also really liked her, and it was definitely nice to finally have like some science that I can understand, because the science in like this sci-fi series is like physics and like space stuff, which I know nothing about. But Elvie was, more about like biology and health, and I can understand that, so I did appreciate like some science that I could actually understand. And actually I said at some point that I liked her, but I didn't think I cared enough to actually be worried if she was in danger. But I actually was worried when she was like with Miller trying to shut down the thing. At one point, like, we thought she was gonna die, and I was actually worried, so I guess I cared about her more than I thought. And then Basia, like, he kind of grew on me, but never really that much. I never really cared that much about him. He was more like just a means to see what was happening with like in Holden's ship and with Alex. And I honestly only cared about like Alex. So he was more just like a means to see that, but I mean, he was okay. And then Havelock, like, he definitely grew on me more than Basia. Like, I actually ended up caring about him. And I like how I'm not sure it's really a friendship, but how like his dynamic with Naomi evolved, and how at the end like he decided to do the right thing and protect them. And I also love like the little scraps we got from Bobby and the Vasarala. I am still waiting for them to come back, like more, like to have more page time. Like I'm waiting for that. And like I said many times, I really hated the security chief guy. If we had to follow his POV, I would have lost my mind. But moving on from the characters, I really love this plot. Like, I was invested from the beginning, but once the like alien proto-molecule thing started attacking them, I was hooked and I loved it so much. Like, I was on the edge of my seat. Like, every time I put this book down, like, I wanted to pick it back up, and especially at the end, I was just trying to read so fast because I needed to know what was happening. And like, I loved everything about it, and the end definitely got me very excited for the next one. Also very nervous because, you know, it's not a good prospect, but it will definitely be an interesting plot, an interesting book. So yeah, I absolutely loved everything about this book, and I am giving it 5 stars. And so yeah, that is everything for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!